Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, one and all, to the Bunk Podcast. We are back again, as always, and we are joined today by Barnsley's own, Barnsley's finest. He is a very talented MC, songwriter. It's KIE5, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, my dog?
I'm not doing too bad, how are you, mate?
Very well. Very excited to have you on. We've been debating this, figuring this out for a little minute. Finally, good to get you in the building.
No, it's good to be here, man, finally, to be fair. It's been a lot of working out.
It's good to, good to be collabing again. We were, our building was going through some renovations for a while. We got back to our first interview the other day and now got you in, so the train's rolling again. It's good to be busy doing this again, and you're just bringing something to that creative pot, and the collabs. It's good, bro.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
For sure, bro. Usually I kind of start with your childhood and backstory, and we'll get to that. But I want to approach this from a different angle this time, I suppose. I want to talk about, touch on your music first of all, because I'd kind of describe your flow as you're kind of a throwback. Your flow reminds me of rappers like Jest, Kalashnikov, Dabbler, those kind of dudes, those early 2000s hip hop. In terms of your flow, you obviously put like a different spin on that instrumentally, musically, and I think that's kind of what sets you apart. But in terms of the way you rhyme, your lyricism, you kind of got that early 2000s UK hip hop style down to a T. What initially inspired you to start, exploring that specifically, I suppose, because it is very, nowadays, 2023, it's a little bit niche, it's a little bit out there, but I'm rocking with it, my guy. It's you're doing something different in this modern day and age, bringing the old and the new together,
No, to be fair, mate, I think it's more of the influence that I got from the people around me. So when I was growing up listening to music, what sort of influenced my style. So I always grew up, like my brother, for example, like not as much UK scene, but he'd play more like early 2000s hip hop when I was coming up.
Right,
so we're talking 50 Cent, obviously, Eminem. My brother used to love like R. Kelly and people like that as well, like a bit of R&B.
Before it was bad to like
before it was bad, and Nelly as well.
Hey, everyone fucks with Nelly. You can't go wrong with a bit of Nelly.
We also used to throw in a little bit of like from the streets. So, like, the streets from the UK, obviously, used to throw in, like, what's his name? Plan B used to be a little bit of one as well. And, I feel like I've also taken my inspirations from sort of people like Chipmunk and people like that. That's how I initially got into this. When I was
so the primitive days that you were mostly influenced by the US guys, like, when did you first, like you said, take note of, like, British guys out here doing their thing, and, like, what made you, inspired you to go, I'm like these guys, I could do my own thing and be successful in this space as well, I guess?
To be honest, I wasn't into rap music at all, really, until I was about 15.
Same, I was
as a young kid, like I dabbled in it a little bit, but it never really bothered me. And then one day, me and my brother were actually like talking, and we were like, "Whatever happened to Chipmunk?" Like we were wondering, what the hell happened to Chipmunk? So I just YouTubed it one day, and then the diss tracks came up, Pepper Rhythm, and all that for like diss tracks against like Bugsy Malone and all that. And then I just
that feud was so iconic,
mate,
back
proper
in the day.
That was literally when I was thrown into like the grime scene and that, and then I just started getting into it. I fell in love from there. Yeah,
from there that like went on to like inspire you kind of. Chipmunk's an interesting one, because like when he first blew up, he was literally like a little kid. So like a lot of his music was indicative of that. It was very like. Me as a kid, like I very much vibed with it. Everyone did. Like it was easy for like your mum in your car to vibe with that as well. But then like later on, you see him sort of go back to his roots, go back to the grime stuff. Like I think it's refreshing to see that, because all of those mainstream people, those mainstream ears and eyes on that side of his game would then gravitate to the underground stuff, and then the whole scene elevates. I
think that was a massive part in the scene elevating as well.
For sure.
Obviously, these artists coming across and doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying as well a minute ago, instrumentally, your music is more diverse than a lot of MCs who operate within that style that you come with. It's it's very contemporary, it's very different, it makes you stand out from your peers, I would say. Has it always been your goal to, put a contemporary instrumental spin on that? Was that like a conscious decision that you made, or, I don't know, did you just kind of fall into that, I suppose?
My attitude has been with music is basically if it floats your boat. So if it can get you up dancing, if it makes you feel a certain way emotionally, so whether you can cry to it, vibe to it, sit just in your garden, just listening to it on your headphones, bobbing, it needs to get to me emotionally in some way. It needs to push some sort of button instrumentally.
If it doesn't appeal to you emotionally as well, it's not going to appeal to your listeners emotional level as well, right?
So whether it's the party or whether it's talking about, I don't know, your ex-girlfriend or some terrible troubles, my music range that I listen to varies massively, so I feel like I try to reflect that as much as possible in my music, like I said, with the instrumentals and stuff, in terms of just sometimes being a little bit out there, but just whatever floats my boat, really.
Do you like that kind of diversity with you that you touched on there, in terms of different musical inspirations and that type of thing? Again, is that just something that you do, that you feel as though you have to do that for yourself, or is it more like you want to draw in those kids listening to your music that were like you, that had a wide musical scope of inspiration, right, and draw those kids in and go, it is possible to do different things and blend something old with something new, maybe, and find that sound, find something contemporary within that.
I always looked at it from a personal point of view first. I always thought to myself, right, I have to like the song, because Ricky Rubin, he has an amazing saying, the famous mixer, which is the audience doesn't have a clue what they want next.
True. You've got to. You kind of got to tell them sometimes.
Yeah. So I always took that attitude of be personal first. It's got to like it first, but then obviously when it comes to releasing, and I'm looking through all the songs that I've got and all the instrumentals, I think what's going to do best commercially, what's going to appeal to an audience. But as well, my target is like kids like myself who have a massive range of music that they listen to. They're not just drill. They're not just trap. They're not just.
It benefits you to cover all of those bases, right?
Exactly,
Yeah, for sure. I suppose that brings me on to, I guess the next question relating to your upbringing and stuff, because, you had all these different influences growing up musically, and I'm, I guess, wondering if that's indicative of your background. So, take me back to the start. Where does your story begin? What initially got you? Well, not necessarily into ground. Was there someone in your life, like a family member, who encouraged you to pursue this as a career for real, or is it something that you've just done off your own back, I guess?
When I was really young, I had a lot of encouragement from my Aunt Michelle, actually.
She helped you discover your passion.
She helped me discover she was always about just doing what you enjoy and doing what you like. I used to go to hers on a weekend sometimes, and I remember she used to have a kitchen, and there was a little raised up platform around the dining table in this kitchen. I used to pretend when I was about 5 to 10 years old, I used to pretend I was performing on there, and she used to do little concerts for me and stuff, and that's where it sort of started.
Before you even knew it. Before you realised that's what you wanted to do. And
then later on, I used to always freestyle to myself, up until I was about probably. Well, up until I started, really. And the first time I actually ever rapped in front of somebody was when I was at uni at 18. And then from there, again, I didn't do it. I just used to do it to myself. I didn't have the balls to do this, if you get what I mean, back then.
It was just something you were experimenting with by yourself.
It was just
build up to a point where it's it was something to show people.
It was something I enjoyed, but it was something I never thought I could actually do, if you get what I mean. So and then basically one day in lockdown, I was actually sat listening to H's H2O EP.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was listening to it and I was thinking, I could do better than this, That's
kind of a positive attitude to take, if he can do it, then why can't I?
I just thought I could do a little bit better than this, so I thought, fuck it, why not?
And that was the spark that made you start, it went from something that was just a casual interest to something that you were taking seriously.
Something that I was taking seriously, 100%. I literally went upstairs, did a webinar on what you need to do to start recording music, and then just started from there.
So you were kind of self-taught as well. You didn't have someone going, oh, okay, like you've got, this stories of like other artists in the space, like Lil Wayne, for example, who like he was again a kid when he started. And he had like all the raw talent, but he didn't know how to make music in the studio.
Yeah.
You never had it. It doesn't sound like you had someone like that.
Everything I've ever recorded, mate, has been recorded in my bedroom, or my front room, or my dining room.
I respect that.
Yeah, I've never stepped foot. This is one of the first times I've ever stepped foot in the studio. To be fair,
I'm honoured. Well, I'm honoured.
Everything's completely self-taught. I got a very unhealthy obsession with it very quickly, and I just became very obsessed.
I can relate to that though, because I can be quite an obsessive individual when I allow myself to be. That like, what can be your greatest weakness can also be your greatest strength. You can use that to like drive you on and motivate you and work hard and stuff, I guess. So yeah, from when you started to where you are now, how's your fan base changed over that time? Because I'm sure there's more supporters turning up to your shows now. We were talking off camera, but you recently reached your first 100,000 views or listens or whatever it was on one of your songs. That is, I don't want to understate that. That's a very, very, very big deal. So I'm sure that's attracted more people to the live aspect. They're turning up more than ever before. I'm sure the anticipation to see your music and see what you release is bigger than ever as well. Yeah, I don't know. Would you say that they have grown alongside you, as you've created more of a reputation for yourself in this scene?
Yeah, I'd say so. There's definitely a few people who've been with me who've discovered me very early on, from like the days where I was releasing like Stop It and Distraction and things like that, like my very early work. There were people who've rid with me from then. But I think as well that obviously recently more people have been on the bandwagon, and I've been seeing more people. Live is quite a new thing at the moment. I've only done I've done less than 5 shows, so I've had a few people come and show.
Still good to cut your teeth doing that though. You've got to,
It's I've had a few people come to shows and show up and that, which is really cool. But yeah, I feel like my audience is still establishing themselves, same as me. So I feel like it's. I know what my audience is like, but I'm also discovering them.
That's a good thing that you can relate to them, you know what they want, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. That idea of like you had a few fans listening to you from day one, and then that's gradually grown over time. Have you noticed a difference in, those two demographics, the early demographics and maybe where you're at now? Do you think the people who have become aware of you a little bit later on, do they want something different musically from what the original fans wanted? And are you keen to, still retain obviously those day one fans and give them what they need, but also broaden it to new audiences?
I feel like I do need to expand, definitely. The audience that is coming in now, like the people that I've started speaking to, they listen to. Like for example, when I released Lift 'Em Up, I targeted that very much to a gym sort of audience.
Right. So you had something specifically in mind. When so like
a motivation, more of an audience. So I've had more of that coming through. So there's an audience. There's a segment of my audience that wants these hype pump tunes. To
something more energetic.
Something more energetic. But at the same time, like my hardcore fans know that I'm personally into like my wordplay, and I'm into like my little bit of freestyling and stuff like that. So
they've got a different appreciation for that, right?
Yeah, as much as they love the stuff that comes out now, they still definitely, when I release these little freestyles and that, it just resonates with them a bit more than it does the newer fans.
You want the old school fans to also evolve with you as well, 100%, like you'll always keep giving them the food that they need to keep going, but also like it's like you're evolving as an artist as well. It's like, come and check out this new stuff. You might like something different, and then hopefully maybe you bring these original fans onto something. A totally different type of music that they wouldn't have been listening to.
I'd like to think that if you're a fan of me, I'd like to think you're open-minded. So you're willing to discover new things, you're willing to evolve yourself as well, and you're about self-improvement yourself. So if you see me, for example, improving or going to different genres of music, come over and give it a go. I don't mind if they don't like it. They might like another song.
For real.
You've got to try shit.
At the same time, like it's like there's for as many people like you know, there'll be a lot of people who love that when you drop that, but then even if you have a few people hating it, like, if you ain't got haters, you're not shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly, man.
If anything, like, people hating on things, it's just like, it makes your fans more empowered, if anything, right?
100%. I've had a hater recently, actually, like, proper bad, like...
How'd you deal? Just block his ass? How'd you deal with it?
Yeah, a little bit. I bit once. I bit once. He claimed something like I was faking some views, and like I bit.
And that's insulting. Don't put that on my name,
insulted me. So, like, but I deleted all my responses to it because
I respect that you admit that.
I'm above that.
I respect that you admit that because like a lot of MCs are coming like, nah, I don't care what like no fan thinks. I'm bigger than that, whatever. And I bet all of them have gone like ranting and raging and haters at some point, you know. But like, you just get to a point where like, I'm getting big now. Like, there's more people that love me than hate me. In the end, it doesn't have to bother you as much, you know.
At the end of the day, what I learned was you'll never find a hater that's doing better than you.
Yeah, that's true.
At the end of the day, you can look at that in that way. Also, they've got a lot of issues going off themselves. I found a lot
invested their pointless little lives and talking shit about you on the internet.
It's not even necessarily that. It might just be an escapism for them. Like, a lot of the times when I've had haters before, I'll message them like privately and go, "Is everything okay, bro?" Like, if you need to talk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you need to talk, let me know. And you'll be surprised at the responses and that, because they're like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm just going through a bit of a shit time. Just need to let off some steam." And it's like,
you were the wrong guy.
Wrong guy at the wrong time most of the time as well.
Do you reach out to like other like not maybe fans maybe that aren't hating on you obviously, but if a fan comes to you talking about, you know, I don't know, mental health issues, maybe I don't know, anything that they're going through, like, are you the type to like reach out and go,
no, like 100%,
because not everyone is, that's not something that's taken for granted. Not everyone artist was obviously willing to do that.
People have to be forward with you when they're talking about that. They have to be ready to talk about it anyway, in order to be able to just respond to it. But if anybody reaches out to me and says like they're going through a terrible time, or like even just a bit, because I know I've been through a lot myself, so I know what it's like, and I know what it would be like, or what I would have liked myself in that situation.
For sure, and it's like someone who looks up to you as well, and then all of a sudden you're reaching out to them. It's like, I don't know, it kind of helps build that community within your fan base, right?
Yeah, and I want to not just like look up to me as in, he's a musician, he's like KIE5. I want them to like see me as close to a friend as I possibly can. Someone that knows.
We're all elevating together, we're going up together.
This is our achievement, not just mine, sort of thing. It's like, come on the journey with me.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. That attitude's the right one, because a lot of people, it seems like a simple thing to, you know, have that empathy, have that courtesy, but you'd be surprised how many artists in this space and people in this space don't have that, you know. So like, hold on to that, bro. That's a really positive trait that you got right there. People will gravitate towards that, you know.
I'll try my best.
Moving on, as you're, you know, like I mentioned before, we were talking previously, you started doing live shows for the first time. You know, your numbers are going up. You're getting new fans, different numbers on. Eyes onto your music, onto your product than ever before. As you know, you're just entering this music industry, seeing this space. Are you adapting well to it, and how are you finding that transition from, you know, I don't know, just being a regular old guy to someone who's putting their art and their persona, I guess, out there into the public realm and space?
I will admit, for probably the first 4 months of me releasing music, my head fell off completely.
What do you mean expand on that?
I'm definitely going to expand on it. My head fell off. I could, like, just putting yourself out there online, just in general, like, for me personally, I'm quite a private guy anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I have a very small group of friends, so, like, putting yourself out there like that and having loads of people have an opinion on you is something very difficult to deal with. I found that very difficult to deal with in the beginning. You know, just the self-consciousness of it, really, in the beginning, when it comes to releasing music. And then, in terms of just learning, I feel like I've adapted very well and very poorly at the same time.
In some ways very well, and in some ways very well.
In some ways I definitely need to improve. Like, I feel like I've took to the marketing side of it very well.
Yeah.
I feel like in terms of content and things like that, that's something that I definitely need to improve on. Like, just doing quality content.
What in terms of like the music and the art, or just is it like a music video thing, or like what aspect of that?
Just like everyday content, you know, like for example, as an artist nowadays, you've got to be on TikTok, you've got to be all over the shop, posting at least once a day. You know what I mean? And it's like it can be quite difficult at times to come up with the constant demand for new content, new ways to entertain people, because that's our job at the end of the day as artists. It's to entertain people and provide value to people's lives. So
and like, because I think the thing with TikTok and social media and stuff as well, like obviously you are absolutely right, but traditionally before social media, the only it's always been an artist's job to entertain people, like you said, but before all of that, an artist's job they only entertained us through their music. That was the only avenue or venue. They might do like a talk show or something and we get to see a little bit more of that real person, but before social media and stuff, like people, they were celebrities. It's like, there's a big veil around their private life. These are like these untouchable people. And nowadays you've got a whole generation of like young artists, musicians, rappers who are like on TikTok, social media, Instagram, these social media apps, and they're like, they're posting a lot about their everyday life, their personal life, and like I think fans feel closer than ever to those artists.
And that's what people want to see now. I feel like if you can make a connection, it doesn't matter whether you're an artist, a business, or anything. If you can make people feel like they know you or they're a part of whatever you are, they'll come along on the ride with you.
It's about engaging people.
Yeah, it's about engaging people as much as possible. So that's what I've found a little bit difficult, being quite an introvert at times.
But you got to go out of your comfort zone and try and be
100%.
Outgoing, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about your. I want to talk about your mixtape, The Prelude. I, like many of your supporters, as I'm sure as well, feel the same way as me. Enjoyed listening to that project. I can tell you wanted your fans to be able to turn up to that tape, have a lot of fun with it. But the final track, Survival, is different. There's a few more that are a little bit more introspective as well, but I was. That one in particular was very different, particularly introspective. You discuss issues such as mental health in your lyrics. You have lyrics like considering whether or not I should wake up at all. That reflects that, and you contextualise that with lyrics describing how you escape that mindset, I guess. Again, yes, was it a conscious decision to discuss mental health topics like that on the project? And if so, is it the kind of concept you see yourself exploring further in more of your music later on down the line?
100%. It was definitely intentional with Survival. Survival was a track where I wanted to sum up, because the prelude itself is about my life prior to becoming a rapper.
Yeah.
So it's sort of before my career started, so I'm talking in Survival, I wanted to summarise it as much as possible. So going through mental health struggles, being this, really, like when I was at university and that, I was in a very low place, and like when I came home I was completely lost, didn't know what to do. Like I dropped out of uni after 1 year.
Same. You're not on your own there, mate. No, there's many of us who got there and realised this isn't what they sell us.
Yeah, exactly. I also spent too much time on booze, I'm not going to lie, but it doesn't help. So many of us ended up going that route, my friend. You are not unique. But I mean, I don't know, it probably made you a more interesting, rounded person. Yeah, 100%. As a result for kind of doing something different. I don't regret that, like doing that at all, in terms of going to uni and that, and even going through like the difficult times and times where I was considering obviously ending it, or times I was in a really bad state mentally. I don't regret it because it made me the man I am today.
You've got to go through the hard times to appreciate the good, and right?
That's what, in Survival especially, I tried to replicate as much as possible, was the transition from being at this really low point to being at the point I was at the end of that mixtape, which was really sure of myself, happiest I've ever been.
And that was a transition that happened while you were making that tape, right? And finding yourself.
Yeah. Music has helped me find myself completely, massively. I feel like this was the thing that was missing in my life the entire time.
Would you say it saved your life, or is that maybe too extreme of a statement?
In a way, yeah. Yeah, because even before I was making music, like even different artists' music and stuff that I used to listen to would really help me. Like if I was ever in a low place, I'd always stick my headphones on, still do, and listen. But nowadays I might create a bit more than I would listen. But even back then. So yeah, I would say definitely music help. It's a massive contributor.
It's that lifeblood that you kind of feed off. That project and the prelude, how obviously like there's songs like Rari that's there to you want people to like turn the fuck up, enjoy that shit, right? There's enough of that in there, but then how much of it of survival and songs that are like that on your project that are a bit more introspective, how much of that is real and how much of that is from a real place? And do you care to enlighten us on some of those real life experiences that inspired that project?
I might have to get the prelude up to remember the tracks, to be fair. If you want me to do that, I can explain them.
That's a good sign though. It's just a sign that you've got a lot in your back catalogue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sign that you make a lot of music. The work rate's there.
I've got like up until August this year, I know exactly what I'm releasing, so I've got still.
We'll touch on that in a minute. That's actually my next question. But I mean, I'd like to hear a little bit more about this tape. But
let me just pull it up so I know. Let me just look at the track.
I'd love to hear about the upcoming stuff as well, my guy.
Right, so there's quite a few in there, to be fair. That I try and be as real as possible anyway. I hate capping in tracks and stuff like that. Just trying to make you sound look cool anyway. It's not something that you kind of find it a little corny, right? Yeah, I find it a bit corny. I find not just corny. I don't like being dishonest anyway.
Right.
So
but just in general, with outside of music.
You should just at the end of the day, you should own yourself and own your own reality. At the end of the day, you're okay to aspire towards different things and manifest different things, but don't lie about it. If you get what I mean.
Don't cap.
But
don't talk shit.
Yeah, so the prelude itself was basically a story of my life before music, sort of between 18 to 22, where I was at that point. So songs like Know My Name was about music exactly, coming up through the music scene, and basically I Won't Stop Till You All Know Who I Am.
Until they know about your name, I remember that lyric for sure.
Intro, there's a few little stuff in there, like obviously talking about my brother and things like that. Obviously he's been through quite a hard time, and we've both been through it together and come through it together. There's a couple of songs on there about an ex-girl I used to know.
There's got to be one. There's got to be a track for the ladies out there.
What I Did For You and Lust interlude of that. So I tell a lot of stories about that.
Mate, if you bottle all that stuff up, bro, that's not going to end well.
It's not going to end well.
Destroy your mind, bro.
100%. And again, tracks like Stop It, that was just me basically letting frustrations out. Same with Rari, there's got to be points where you're being retrospective and emotional, but there's also points where, especially in this rap game, you've got to turn around and go, I am the man, I am the shit.
You got to back yourself.
You got to back yourself in that sort of environment, because rap's competitive anyway. It's massively competitive. Started from battle rap, didn't it?
I think music in general anyway is, but I think rap and hip hop to the nth degree.
100%.
It's the extreme of that. But no, it's good to know that just a lot of those songs do come from a real place, and you're not just what's the word, kind of pimping out struggle and that kind of thing. It's you really went through these things, and I could see that it was a real outlet for you,
100%.
Making those tunes, making that music.
It's like therapy to me. It's like therapy to me, making music. If I feel like when I write down what's in my head and I can put it on a mic and then listen back to it, I feel freed of it. A lot of the time.
You're free in your own mind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. We've got to do the live session soon, which if this is already out by the time you guys see this, go check that out. If it's not, it'll be upcoming and it will be very good, I'm sure. I've heard your music. I back you to do a good job for my channel, my friend. We need to start wrapping this up, but I've got a few more questions. You said that you've got a big back catalogue of other music that you've got recorded and stuff that you want to release. You know that you want to, you know what's coming out. You want to release out over the next year or so. You know what your you want to release for your fans, you know, what you want to give them. Talk to me about some of these upcoming projects for the rest of the year and what your fans have got to look forward to, I suppose.
Oh, you're looking to me first. It's the first time I've ever spoke about this.
But we've got the highest take,
you've got
the hot take.
exclusive.
Yeah, we've got the exclusive.
So I tend to do my music in phases and tend to do my releases in phases. So at the moment, I've just started phase 4 with Lift 'Em Up. So there'll be about 5 or 6 songs coming out between now and the end of August.
Singles, right?
Singles, yeah.
And but this is this building towards like a tape or a project?
Yeah, this is building towards a tape that'll come out. It's scheduled to come out in April next year.
Wow, that's a big plan. That's well in advance.
Yeah.
That's over a year away. Crazy.
So like that, because I've tried to strategize how I'm going to release and how I'm going to grow as an artist, and how my audience is going to grow with me over the next sort of 2 years or so. Anyway, but I feel a lot easier writing. I find it easier to write to a project than I do just to write singles. So like if I've got a wider perspective in mind,
wider concept,
then I find it a lot easier to tie stories to it and to be able to pull from myself, definitely. But next year it's all leading up to the Tales of a Well-Rested Insomniac. It's going to be called
Tales of a Well-Rested Insomniac. I like that title. Guys, next April. I know it's a long time away, but you better cop that shit. I mean, it's crazy hearing you talk about that, and like I don't know. Obviously, like, I've met artists doing this type of thing, and a lot of them are, they are ambitious. They are, they've got a plan. They know what they want to do, but finding an MC who's got more than the next 4 to 6 months in mind is I don't come across that every day. But to have someone who's got a plan that's this is the plan for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a sign that you're taking it seriously, you've got your head switched on, your head's in the game,
this is what I want to do.
If you carry on that mentality, man, you'll go far, you'll really, really be able to do this, you know?
No, I really hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
For our sake and yours, If you blow up to the nth degree, that only helps us if we're doing this video with you right now, trust me.
Same other way around, by the way.
Let's not cap, we both know why we're both here. But I suppose, that leads me on to the nice thing. Obviously, you've got, the plan for the next year or so. You know what you want to release. What's the long-term goal? How far do you want to take it, or how far do you think it can take you? Do you think you can really manifest that belief in the way that you envision?
I'm manifesting myself performing at the O2 one day. Whether
big goals, the O2 Academy or the big one?
No, the big one. The big one.
The
Academy would be amazing, by the way, but the big
man's not going to say no. Man's not going to be like, nah, I'm too big for this. Nah, get me the big one. Nah, the Academy would be great.
The Academy would be amazing, but got away my.
I respect that. Yeah, what's the point if we're not, right?
I'm a big believer myself and enjoy the journey, and life will take you where you're supposed to be anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in manifestation. It's proved itself to me multiple times.
The more that you say it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
The more I say it's going to happen, I know when I've manifested things before, they've happened. So I know if I keep manifesting, it's going to happen eventually one day. And I'm just working towards that, planning in the future just to basically create a plan and to follow it step by step, execute it well, and then hopefully one day I can be chilling at the O2, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to just be known, musically, just for being something different in the scene, being a little bit of a game changer, a little bit. I feel like today, especially in the rap scene, there's a lot of the same vibe going off, and I feel like a lot of artists get forgotten.
Yeah. I think we're in a generation now where it's it kind of reminds me of in the 90s and stuff with the old school stuff. There was so many 9, 10 out of 10 MCs that were just unbelievable that no one's ever heard of before. Your Biggies, your Tupacs, your Eminems, MF Dooms, Nas, Andre 3000, etc. But those guys who did make it, that's the 1%. There's 99% of people in that decade that were unbelievable that didn't have the platform to be known on a wider level. Nowadays it's a little bit different because of streaming, and I do think it's a little bit easier for unknown artists to, you know...
to create a space for themselves.
Create a space, and there's a little bit, but then also, like, because there's also so much music nowadays, you're right, anyone can just record, you know, a song in the bedroom and put it out. Not all, some of it's great, but not all of it's good, you know?
I feel like as well, different. With the way the music scene's evolved in terms of, like you said, with Instagram and streaming and stuff like that, I feel like people are chasing numbers rather than being true to themselves and actually being a good artist. And learning the just creating their own lane. They're trying to, Central C did this, so I'm going to try and do this.
I'm just going to be like Central C. Yeah. It's just a little bit like it's a little bit played out, isn't it? It's like when guys like that did blow up, it's like that was new. That was revolutionary in that moment at that time, you know. But if everyone just starts coming out trying to do that exact same thing, trying to replicate it, it's like when there's a lightning in a bottle moment, you're not going to be able to replicate that. You've got to create your own lightning bolt. You've got to create your own vibe and your own energy. You can't just copy people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that. I respect that chase for originality in you. You don't want to just fall back into the crowd. You are chasing, like, I don't know, something unique and being defined by your own imprint and stuff, you know? I'm
big on individuality and being yourself. Being yourself to the nth degree. So, almost unapologetically yourself.
Respect that.
Yeah, don't try to be anybody else. Do what's true to you.
That being said, though, would you work in a crew? Would you work in, like, a group of MCs if it was, like... Obviously, you're a solo artist right now, but, like... I don't know, would you consider working in like a crew of MCs if it was for the betterment of the collective, or like, do you just prefer working by yourself? I don't know. It's alright if you are.
It's easier working by myself, I'll be honest. I think I have more arguments for myself than I do other people. I'm not gonna lie. But
the difference is that conversation's happening in your head, so you can decide quick that. With other people, it's like, this is going to drag out all day. And like,
to be fair, I would do a collective with other MCs, but it'd have to be something I'm heavily invested in anyway. And I feel like the long-term picture for me is always to be a solo artist. Whether
you don't want to be reliant on other
people. I imagine myself having a team around me. I like having a different sort of MCs. Like, you got to think, like, sort of. I'm trying to remember their names. But what group was Hopsin part of? Was it like?
I'm not sure, but I've heard of Hopsin, my guy.
Was it Funk Volume?
Yeah, it was.
Funk Volume, I could see that being then the Hopsin to step out of it, or like Eminem being with sort of D12 and then stepping out of it. Do you get what I mean? Like, so I'd be very open to it, but I've always seen myself as more of a solo.
It's like if it's beneficial to you, you'd like work with other people, but like you also want your own image and your own music and your own brand to exist independently in and of itself.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't want to be relying on other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a positive attitude, man. You got to back your own creative output, and respect that to the nth, man. I respect that to the nth. But final question: where can people find your music? And is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to while we've still got time?
Oh, well, you can find my music on YouTube if you search KIE5. I know people call me Key or Kai or whatever you want. Listen to my music.
Whatever you want, bro. As long as you're tuning in.
So you can find me at KIE5 there. Believe it is _Key_5 on Instagram. I always get them underscores mixed up, so if you put them in one combinations, you'll find it.
You're like sending out like a cryptic puzzle to the fans,
just something for you to enjoy.
Here's half a map, like find me from this.
So I'm the same on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Facebook.
I'm sure they'll figure it out. The smart, I've got to give my viewers credit. Like, they're smart people. They'll figure it out.
And Key on Spotify as well, so KIE. If you search for Key, stop it, 9 times out of 10 you'll come up with a track, and then you'll find me there. And then you can just click on the artist name.
Find it from there.
Or check my link tree.
Oh yeah. If that's the avenue they end up finding
in my bio.
Indeed. My friend, it has been a pleasure to have you on, my absolute guy. KIE5, everybody. KIE5. Absolute legend. Pleasure to have you on today.
No, pleasure to be here.
If you haven't already, guys, make sure to drop a like and a subscribe on the video. I know it doesn't seem like a lot. It's very important. So yeah, please, if you haven't done it already, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. And yeah, we've had fun today. We've had a good little chat. I'm sure we'll rendezvous again at some other point.
I'm sure we will. I've enjoyed this.
Indeed. Live session coming up shortly. Make sure you go and check that. And yeah, thanks for tuning in again, guys. Peace out. Much appreciated. See you in a bit.